What's up, guys? Aaron Smith here with the Real Estate Momentum Podcast, and I've got two of my favorite friends here, Dianna Caldwell and Monica Weakley. What's up, guys?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so we just had a really good conversation in our conference room about something that we care a lot about right now, so we're just trying to tell a story today, right? We're just trying to kind of give a little bit of our background, a little bit of our history, so that our fellow agents and then our clients understand what do we do behind the scenes and why do we do what we do.
And why here?
Why here, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
we've chosen to affiliate with our favorite brand, eXp Realty. And some people aren't going to care. Some people it doesn't matter to, but some people out there are looking for something better for themselves and for their business. And we get to tell them why we are where we are today, right? Mm-hmm. So, Dianna, I'm going to start with you. In about 2 minutes or less, give or take, let's hear your story.
Okay.
How'd you end up here?
How did I end up here?
Yeah.
So I had only ever been with one brand before. And I started in the late 90s working at a RE/MAX office in Nashville and moved here with my family in the 2002 and started working here locally. I got licensed here in 2005 and had started out at RE/MAX as a admin, really. And
I didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Aha.
and
Cool.
worked in that capacity for a while, actually part-time. My children were young and in school, and real estate was something I kept thinking, wow, I could do this. Why couldn't I do this? So
That's
I
awesome.
didn't know to realize that I didn't know anybody. I just moved here, and maybe it might not be as easy as I thought it was going to be. But it ended up being great. So anyway, I never really looked at another brand. Never really even thought about moving, and just got to the point my team kept growing and getting bigger, and we had these younger agents joining us. And as an agent, you're an independent contractor. A couple of them didn't have insurance. We had agents that were young and didn't have retirement, and just the fact that the opportunities for the stock, the insurance, and the ways that you could grow as an entrepreneur was just amazing at eXp.
Did you say, what did you do before real estate professionally?
I was an executive assistant, worked for Levi Strauss.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
The Jean Company?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that. It's
We
so
would have
cool
never
to hear.
guessed.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
No.
Go Vols, right?
No.
Go Vols,
Go
that's
Vols.
right. So that's
cool.
kind of
I love hearing what agents did before they got
Before,
into real
yeah.
estate.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's just so surprising, and sometimes it's like, I can see that.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You take care of people either way, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're all in the
That's
people
true.
business
All
one way or the
service.
other.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Monica.
But eXp was one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? And it just did not take me long to be able to think, this is something I need to explore.
Well, and we have those moments, too, where it's like, it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
And then our mind tells us, like, that can't be.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's not.
Because it's so different than
It
what's
is.
been offered.
Right.
That's why you go through that process of, how can this be? It's so different.
Well, and I think that's why, as business owners, being able to evaluate an opportunity is so important, right? You got to open your mind up, you got to open your eyes up, and just lay it all out there and be curious. You can't just you kind of close your mind off and not look into an opportunity when you're a business, especially when you have a team, you have people counting on you.
Right.
I need to do the best thing for my family and my team. You can't think about all the naysayers and people who might try to talk you out of a good opportunity, right?
That's what I actually thought was so interesting about your story, was that you went looking for it. And most agents are approached about eXp.
I
Hey,
was
will you look
never
at it?
approached.
You were never approached.
Never
And that's so
approached.
interesting to me that you actually had the mindset to say, what is next for me? What is next for my team? What else is out there? That's just a business acumen that a lot of agents don't have. So I was really impressed with your story, and I share that actually with people because I think that has a lot of validity to it for us to have somebody at her caliber, just top notch, say, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
You know?
That surprises me. I mean,
January 2021, which was just a little more than a year ago, I didn't know what eXp was. I
Interesting.
did not know what it was.
And we had been around for 12 years then.
Yeah, and maybe just hearing a little bit about it, just from people that didn't really know the story and know what it was, but I didn't really even understand what it was. And I started seeing through coaching that I do some bigger team leaders taking their teams over, and that's why I started exploring it. Didn't know what it was.
So let that be a data point for anybody who's watching this, and that is one of the top agents in an entire MLS was not approached by anybody.
Yeah. Makes me sick.
And here's the deal. You felt comfortable where you were.
Very comfortable.
And we hear
Top
that.
of the heap.
We hear that a lot. What's the one thing we hear a lot? I'm happy where I am.
I'm happy. Right.
Okay. But if you could be happier, would you be open to the conversation, right?
Right.
So to keep things moving here, great story. I love the little nuggets there that I wasn't already aware of. Monica, I'm going to wait to tell my story. But you and I came over back in 2017.
That's right.
Let's hear a little bit about you from, you were in the radio business and all that. So just kind of, you were in leadership for a while before you came to eXp.
Yes, I've always been in sales. That's always been my thing. And I had an opportunity to take a severance package, which gave me $30,000. And I always wanted to be in real estate. I thought, this is my chance because now I have income for 3 months. I thought, I'll be up and running in 3 months. It'll be good. So I took that opportunity. I'm very thankful that I did. I joined a independent brokerage here in Cincinnati. I was there for 7 or 8 years. I've been doing this a long time, almost 20 years. How long have you been doing this?
17.
Okay, same. How long have you been in it?
I got my license in 2007, right before the market hit the toilet.
Okay, okay, nice. That was good timing on your part.
What is that? 15? Whoa.
Yeah.
I got my license 15 years ago.
Wow, there you go.
Wow.
So yes, I took an opportunity in leadership at Keller Williams, which was new to the market at the time. Everybody was Keller who, because that's just the process you go through. And I was the assistant team leader and started coaching and training agents in that role and really loved that. And then I became the team leader. I am a Keller Williams fan.
Yep.
I learned and grew there like no place I've ever been in any business. I love that company. And I was never leaving. I was the one that if you called me to talk, let's go to coffee and talk about your business. No, thanks. I'm good. I was good. And I got tricked into looking at eXp by Jackie Bowman.
And you're thankful
Thank
for
you,
that.
Jackie. Yeah. Oh, I'm so grateful because I wasn't open-minded. So here I am, like now this is all I coach and train is, got to look at your business that way. But she tricked me. She said, because I said no. She said, will you look at it? I said, no, I'm happy. I'm super happy where I am. And she said, would you let me practice my presentation on you? And so being a people pleaser? Yeah, sure, of course, no problem. So I looked at it, and I remember instantaneously at the end of that meeting, I knew I was leaving Keller Williams. I knew this was a total game changer for me and my family and my business and my future. And I knew also that it would change the dynamic of this industry and that it would solve problems for agents that they didn't even know they had. And so I had this supervision that this was it. This was what we have been hoping for and didn't even know to ask for or that was possible.
Wow. So it was the tricking into listening to the opportunity was like a rock that fell out of the sky and hit you on the head. It was instantaneous. You were like, oh my gosh.
This is it.
They opened up Pandora's box and it was over.
I did. I said, how am I going to leave this company? Because I had recruited almost all of the agents that were there. I was the team leader.
You had influence.
I had relationships with all of them. I was very close with the leadership. One of the guys there was like a big brother to me. I really cared about that company and I cared about the people and I still do. But I knew that if I stayed there on that track, I was going to make them a lot of money and I would have nothing to show for it when I was done, except experience, which is great. But I'm of a certain age and I needed the next 10 years to be something for me. Mm-hmm. That is where it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah. It's my turn to tell my story.
Please.
Oh, we can't wait for this.
Well, I'll try to make it as painless on me as possible.
It's actually the most interesting.
So this story to me is bittersweet because I have trained myself not to have regret around my decision on this. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you and I came over to eXp. You almost automatically were like, I feel compelled to tell you this. I'm leaving and I'm going to a company called eXp. And I was like, I've heard of that, and then you told me, so kind of rewinding 2007, I get my real estate license. I'm a junior in college. No idea what in the hell I'm doing. I'm getting a marketing degree. And then right before I graduated, the real estate market just started to crumble. Financial crisis and all this stuff. And, here I am with my diploma in my hand and my real estate license in the other. And I'm like, well, damn.
What are these worth? What have I done?
So I did what any sensible human being would do, and I went and got a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
There you go.
And I worked for about 50 hours a week, and I think my take-home pay was like $24,000 a year. Grateful to have a job. Mm-hmm. Still not clear on what my path was going to be. So after 2 years of working for Enterprise, that's a job that I'm so glad that I did because I learned so much, but I would never, ever go back and do it again knowing what I know now. It's a great foundation for a business professional. Mm-hmm. So I get out and I hang it up. I put in my 2 weeks notice. Real estate license comes out of escrow, and my dad's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you getting into real estate? Like, there's no benefits. You don't have any, no health insurance, no retirement
you don't get
plan.
paid
It wasn't a safe and secure job.
Right.
And the market was in the toilet.
And you were unemployed every day when you're in real estate.
Every day.
I learned that really fast. Every day you
Unemployed
wake
every
up,
day.
you're unemployed, and you have to go out there and find a job.
Right.
So I did, and thankfully, I was at Keller Williams just like you were. I was in the right spot for me at the time. eXp had just been created. They may have had like 2 agents on the West Coast, and nobody knew about eXp at that time. So I immersed myself in all this training, and I remember reading a book in college, and it was handed to me by a friend of mine, and he's like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the book, one of the things, seek first to understand and educate yourself, and then through Keller Williams, the 6 personal perspectives, being learning based, always just try to grow. So training other agents and all that stuff. Well, you bring this opportunity to me in the summer of 2017, and I'm like, I don't see any problem with this business model. Like, why are we not already there? So we move over. Well, I didn't know how to deal with being uncomfortable, right? So I had the real estate office that I always knew and loved. I had my signs in the garage still from the old real estate company. And then I think the problem was like the company at eXp was growing so fast, and my business was growing so fast. It was almost in my head I had to pick a lane. Do I want to grow my business and focus on where I'm comfortable and stay growing my business, or do I want to stay uncomfortable with both right now? And I was weak at the moment. Complete vulnerability, I was weak. And right after I left eXp to go back to Keller Williams, another agent from Star One joined, and about the same level of production. Well, I had a great time at Keller Williams. I was training agents for about 3 years. I would coach all the new agents that came into the office, and I loved it. Don't regret one bit about going back to Keller Williams. But when we had a conversation, this was I think it was last summer. And the eXp stock price had shot through the roof. And we were just talking, and I was like, you know what? I think I still have some stock from eXp. Let me go check. And I checked it, and I checked it, and it was 452 shares of stock that I made in just 5 months at being at eXp back in 2007.
Wow.
And then about a month later, the stock split, and I had 904 shares of stock. And I'm like, okay, I have $60-something thousand worth of stock, and I was there for 5 months.
In the beginning.
And then you told me about Dianna, who came over right after I had left to go back to Keller Williams, about the same level of production, icon agent, just like I would have been, awarded $16,000 worth of stock at $2 a share.
Every year for 4 years.
Every year for 4 years. I did the math, and I'll be damned if I hadn't lost about $900,000 by going back and not sticking it out and staying uncomfortable at the moment. That was
and that's not an exaggeration. Like, that's an actual pretty accurate assessment.
I did the math.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
And I don't regret it one bit.
Right.
I don't regret it one bit.
The learning that took place as
That
a result
was a
of that.
high cost education. So that would be, and then once we had that conversation, I was like, you know what, let me do what Dianna did here. Let me evaluate my business, and is this the right thing for me? I stayed out my non-compete at Keller Williams after stepping out of coaching. I mean, that was a strategic long runway there because I had a non-compete. I didn't want to just do the wrong thing by my previous broker. I wanted to see things through the right way. And I'm here now, and It's
And we're happy about that.
so
We are.
that's going to lead us into the next conversation, right? So we had a conversation before this. There's 78,000 agents at eXp right now. When I was here in 2017, when we came over, there were 3,000.
3,000.
In 5 months, they were at 8,000. They're at 78,000 agents right now. Who are they? Who are these 78,000 agents?
Well, and just a little bit of perspective on that. When I came over March of last year, there were only 30,000 plus. So that's how much it's grown.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Doubled in size.
And they have put a stake in the ground that we will be at 500,000 agents in 5 years, and that is just based on actual numbers. That does probably even factor in a little bit of momentum that we really have. So I think we'll actually hit that earlier. Agents are going to continue to come to this company because it solves problems. So who are they is a great question, and that's actually what I'm most excited about, is that it literally is everybody. It is everybody. It is brand new agents because we have this incredible mentoring program. You have to be assigned a mentor for your first 3 deals. They walk alongside you. They help you fill out contracts. They go on appointments with you. So we've got that covered along with the training. Then we have kind of your average agent, which I would just say is like an individual agent doing varying levels of productivity, maybe has a support person or two, kind of what you think of as your average agent.
Yeah, they're in growth mode.
Yeah,
They're
right.
building.
Growth mode. Yeah.
We are growing with teams at a rate that's just almost immeasurable. I mean, small teams, large teams, these big teams out of these big markets moving like Titanics over to eXp because is that comfortable for them? No.
No, it's uncomfortable.
It's really hard to do that. And then we have independent brokerages, both big and small. Did you know that we moved a 902 agent brokerage over last year?
Yeah, you said that a couple weeks ago when we met.
That's
it
right.
blew my mind.
902 agents. That's bigger than I think Sibsey Klein is right now in this market.
Yeah.
Can you imagine waking up one day and they are eXp? That's what happened.
So, I mean, and I think we would all agree that when you see that if you know how to evaluate a broker model, right? There's the, let's call them the traditional brokerage model. When you join, that's a 50-50 split. You never cap. You might raise up in your split a little bit, but you never cap, right? That's on one side of the spectrum. It's very broker-centric. On eXp, it's very decentralized. And a lot of people, when they see that not only do we have the training for new agents, the mentorship, the training that, would you say there's, I wrote it down on the other sheet of paper there, but there's 12 classes just today
top icon agents, top agents doing best practices.
on
today.
how to build and grow your business
12
and how
hours.
to team build and how
Yeah.
to get more business.
It's crazy.
So when you see the amount of training that we have, the new agents taken care of, when you see some of the training by icon agents on how to build and grow your team, like you and I have, I would say small to medium-sized teams. We could dive in there and learn from somebody in Texas or California or Montana on what they've done with their team, and we could just pull little nuggets that fit into our picture. So all agents of all sizes can plug into this.
And with the whole team aspect of it, it's a lot easier to recruit for a team at eXp versus a traditional brokerage because of all the things that's offered.
The offerings that
Yeah.
you or Remax, quite frankly, wasn't able to offer. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's so true. That's true. You know, we can list all the people all the types of agents, small, big, individual, whatever. But really the important thing to know here is your broker is your business partner. That's what the broker is. And I never knew that when I started. I went wherever my friend was. Like, yeah, that's good. I never even
Or
interviewed.
wherever you were.
Or
Because
like
you
whatever's close
there.
to me.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Your broker is your business partner. So you have to look at what do you need to plug into. And if you're not looking every year, even if you're at eXp, keep looking. Am I plugged into what is giving my business the most power? What is giving my future the most wealth? What is giving my, whatever that is for you, whatever the track is that you're on? Are you being fueled by the right, business partner? That's who belongs here.
It's the ultimate abundance mindset, because at eXp, there's no manager standing in front of the door trying to keep you from walking out.
Correct.
Right.
At a lot of brokerages that are traditional or long-standing brokerages, they are very reactive and scarcity mindset. They don't want you to leave. Well, if you're providing everything that I need, why would I ever leave? And I feel like that's at eXp. It's like we're just going to give you the best of everything, and you won't want to leave. And there may be a day where it's not the best place to be, but right now it's so hot and we're growing so fast. Let's talk about why we're growing, though, not just who.
Mm-hmm. Why?
So I feel like eXp being a cloud-based model, right? There's no brick and mortar office, which allows you to scale because you're not having to pay rent in every city in the entire globe.
Right.
But it's a cloud-based model, and it was not really widely accepted prior to this pandemic, right? When things shut down and people realized, oh, I can work from anywhere I want to. I don't have to go in and see all my friends in the real estate office. eXp shot off like a rocket. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, too, is that the decentralization of training. It's like, I can, hold on a second. My company would hold an annual convention in February every year, and I could go listen to people from all over the country talk about what they're doing to build their business. Well, today's Thursday, and I can listen to 12 of those trainings today, and guess what? I can probably go back and do it again tomorrow, and I don't have to buy a plane ticket, hotel room, anything.
You can be in your PJs in your kitchen.
Well, and if you look at other industries, you know, you take the Blockbuster model. In order to rent a movie, you had to go into a brick and mortar store, and then technology has changed that industry. You look at all of restaurant models, DoorDash. Look at what happened with food delivery, and people have used technology to increase efficiency and profits and cut out expenses. That's exactly what eXp is doing, and agents are thriving right now.
That Blockbuster analogy is really strong because what a lot of people don't know is Blockbuster's model was such that a third of their revenue was coming from late fees. So their business was designed to have you not show up with the movie.
They were paying rent by you showing up with the movie late.
So that when Netflix came to them and said, hey, we've got the next thing, you guys want in? They couldn't shift. And it really is the same with these old-fashioned broker models. They can't shift because their P&L has two major expense items, the brick and mortar, whether it be rent or mortgage, and then duplicated staff. So when you're carrying that is your model. Of course you want to keep all these agents producing because your mortgage never leaves, the staff never leave. Like, you've got to keep that going, and that's Blockbuster. Ultimately, that was the demise. And I don't want to see these businesses fail, but if they don't pivot and shift, it's going to happen. So they're going to start folding, and that's why I think you're going to see eXp continue to grow, not only from attracting agents to it, but just by the demise of some of these old-fashioned mindsets about business in this industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Dianna, you told a story this morning, and I think we're going to do a little bit of myth busting here. Okay, I'm going to play a little game called Mythbusters for a second.
Mythbusters.
So there's a lot of being a new business model to a lot of areas, and it's new within the last 2, 3, 4 years, right? There's a lot of misunderstandings, and we wrote down a few of them here. So one of the misunderstandings had to do with how we as agents interact with our brokers. How did that conversation go this morning? And let's try to clear the air on that.
Yeah. So I was talking to a local experienced agent, and he had recently met with another broker in the area, but he made a comment that it was no different than eXp's broker, who is unengaged.
You said it was on paper.
Paper only.
Paper only broker.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, let's stop right there, because that is a total myth and could be not completely further from the truth. Because, in my opinion, the broker support at eXp has been off the charts.
Agreed.
Absolutely off the charts. There's not a time that I can't call my broker, text, or send a workplace message that I don't get a call within just a few minutes. And whatever the help we need is taken care of immediately. So, and just bouncing things off of them. If you've got an issue on a deal, just, hey, can I pick your brain on this? What would you do, or how would you handle this? It's been off the charts, and that I've experienced that on the Ohio side as well as on the Kentucky side.
One thing I want to add to that is eXp's model is such that as a state grows, so grows the number of brokers that you have, because their intention is to continue to offer that same support. That doesn't happen inside of a traditional brokerage. You just keep adding. You've still got the broker. That's it. But here, in fact, in Ohio, we're getting ready to add a third broker because the agent count is getting to the point where that's warranted. And that will continue and continue. And that mindset tells me how much eXp understands how important that subject is our support.
And, if anybody's watching this who is not an agent, the time that we typically interact with our broker is when we may have an idea of what to do, but we want to run it past our broker to make sure, hey, let's run through legalities, ethics. My client wants to do this. I don't really agree with it. How should we handle it? So it's not just, how do I market a piece of real estate or what should I do? This is like,
legal
hey,
contract.
we have a conflict and I need your advice in resolving it, because when I go to court with my client to defend my client, I need to know that you're going to be there with us and you kind of back us up on the decision here. Or if we need to kind of have a broker step in as a third voice. So, my experience with eXp's broker, in 2017, it was a launching brand. There was very few agents in the area, so the broker it was kind of whoever they could find at the moment, just if I'm being honest. Today, I feel like our broker's a freaking rock star. I was at eXp October 18th of 2021. Within 2 weeks, I'm with my tail between my legs, and I'm calling our broker saying, I've got a client that's about to make a bad decision, and here's what I've advised them to do. They don't want to listen to me. They want to do something else. How would you advise me here? That was a voicemail that I left. I got a call back within 10 minutes. A lot of questions asked, a good 20-minute phone call with clarity and support. And I've had to make a few of those phone calls since then, but there's not been a single time where I've waited longer than 15 minutes for a text back or a phone call or something. So if I had to say anything to that myth, it is 180 degrees. It is not a paper broker. They are involved at a very deep level.
Agreed.
And I mean, we're always receiving information through the Facebook Workplace on what's going on and here's what to know. I've never received that much attention. So,
and if you're hearing that, I think you have to ask yourself what the source of that is. And do they actually have knowledge of what's going on today? Ask an agent in eXp versus listening to maybe if you're hearing that from your own broker, because of course that's what they're going to say.
Yeah, that's just the narrative they're spreading.
Right.
Well, and when you're fighting a battle and you feel like your opponent's winning, you're going to try to throw shots wherever you can. Right. eXp is a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, that's a good one. We hear that a lot.
All the time.
First of all,
you go, Monica.
First of all,
take a deep breath and let's.
I take real issue with this.
Yeah.
I think this is a real lazy myth. Actually, it kind of irritates me because it's lazy. A pyramid scheme is illegal, and we are a publicly traded company, billion-dollar company. Like, what we're doing is not only not a pyramid scheme, but it's certainly not illegal.
I feel like a pyramid, like when people say pyramid scheme, I feel like it's so cliche. It just reeks of, I don't understand it, so I'm just going to throw
Call
mud
it that.
at it.
Yeah. Totally agree with
That's
that.
also a narrative, too, that's being spread. That's,
It's easy to say and easy to spread doubt.
So let's talk about why people are saying it.
Okay.
First and foremost.
So why people are saying it is because we have an opportunity to share in the revenue that eXp generates from agents. So eXp's mindset is, I am a shareholder in the company, and therefore, if I'm helping the company grow, I should benefit from the revenue that's coming in. It's that simple. We, for instance, you came in under me with somebody in between. So when you sell a house, I get a small piece of that. It's eXp's way of saying, hey, remember that guy you brought in? Thanks a lot. Here's a little, he's active. Here's a little piece of the pie.
Yep.
I don't have to participate. It's not required. I don't have to give money to participate, which is actually what a pyramid scheme is. The people at the bottom are giving money that floats to the top. So there's no requirement. In fact, it is 100% voluntary. And I will tell you, as of today, at the time of this recording, 88% of all eXp agents have not attracted somebody to the company.
Right.
They're not participating in it. They're here to sell houses, take advantage of the great stock awards and the great financial platform. So it is a big misnomer, and it's actually inaccurate. I think there's like 4% of our agents are doing this at what we would call like a high level, where they're being intentional about growing this path of income.
Right.
I am one of them. I have no hidden agenda about that. I see it as a real opportunity to change my financial picture in the future. But more importantly than that, I tell this story because I know it's the best place for you guys to sell houses.
Life-changing.
I freaking believe this. That's why I'm talking about it all the time.
Well,
If I didn't, I wouldn't talk about it.
And that's the thing. It's like when you have a company who understands their brand, you know, it's like, okay, so if I want to grow my company, I have to offer something that is valuable to the agents here. And we wouldn't be even trying to get anyone to see the picture. Like, you got tricked into looking at the business model. And when you saw it, you're like, oh my gosh, my eyes are wide open now. So,
Right.
and nobody really dragged you to eXp.
No.
It wasn't this recruiting thing. It was like, let me just kind of tell you what I'm doing. Right.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about eXp, and I feel like we got broad shoulders, so if people want to say it's a pyramid scheme, it's like, well, let me tell you why it's not.
Right.
You know, I'll show you all the things that we do. We won't even talk about revenue share,
Right.
and it'll still blow your mind.
Right. True.
But yeah, you're right. I think it's just part of the narrative, and I think it's just something that we can participate in revenue share here because the expenses and everything is so streamlined. Expenses are so low. We don't have the brick and mortar expense. We have people who are in strategic roles with eXp that are able to serve agents, and we get paid the same day of closing,
Right.
all that stuff. So they've figured out a model that works, and people who don't understand it are going to say that it's just, you guys are just recruiting. And
Bunch of recruiters. Here,
you know, the value of our company is so huge, and the revenue, like each agent's only paying in $16,000 a year.
right.
Well, and to
Well,
that
not even
point too, just when I started investigating and really understood the model, I felt like it would be, what's the word I'm looking for? I felt like it would just be irresponsible of me not to share it with my team and let them make the decision. So we as a team came together, looked at all the facts, and I actually shared everything with them and said, hey guys, what I want you to do is I want you to go back and analyze this company and analyze the benefits and then the pros and cons of it. And I want you to come back to me and tell me why we shouldn't do it. Let's poke holes in it and figure out why we shouldn't do it. And they all came back and said, we're with you, let's go.
It's
In fact,
funny.
they were like pushing me, let's go now because spring market's starting.
We want to start now.
Yeah.
So you weren't trying to push that on them. In fact, you were
No,
saying,
I
give
was
us a
saying,
reason to stay. Give me a reason to
Give
stay.
me a reason not to do this.
Yeah.
You know, poke some holes in it.
Interesting.
That is so funny because I did the exact same thing. I said, guys, here it is. I'm going to lay it all out for you. And, you know, next week we're going to come back and talk about this. I want you to tell me why it's a bad idea. And not a single person could come up with a reason other than the fact it's going to be uncomfortable for about a week.
Which it is. Switching brokerages is a big, giant pain.
Yeah, but that, what they say about your comfort zone, the magic lies outside your comfort
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So other myths. You guys don't have offices. You can't really sell real estate without a real estate office.
How many people go into a real estate office?
Well, we could just look at the evidence of the top talent that's here selling houses without owning office, but we do have offices, actually.
Yep.
We have a partnership with Regis. You have in every city internationally, we have access to these shared office spaces. I could go to Paris right now and walk into a Regis space and work there if I needed to. We have, I think, 4 or 5 in Cincinnati. One really cool site downtown called Spaces. Have you been to that
I've
in
not
OTR?
been there yet,
It's
no.
really neat.
Okay.
So we do have that. But more importantly, I think you get to decide as the agent, what do you need in the way of office? Most agents say, I don't need an office. I'm paying for it, but I don't need it.
And they found that out right about March 13th of 2020.
2020, COVID helped.
Yeah, it kind of got them out of their comfort zone. They're like, oh my gosh, I am so much more productive when I don't have all these other agents telling me about why their deals are falling apart.
Right.
And,
Right.
you know, like we were talking in the conference room earlier, when I come into my shared office space, I get to share networking opportunities with people outside of real estate, people who aren't out there working with buyers and sellers, people who may have friends and family who need to buy. I'm not in the office with a bunch of agents sharing the same stories, and there's really no productivity happening. I'm actually networking with people who they can build me and I can build them. So I would argue that having a real estate office is counterproductive as opposed to getting out there and networking with people like you should be.
I think it's true too.
I agree, yeah.
Cool.
And, you know, your office here is shared space. And
Well, co-working
host
space is so
things.
popular now too. I mean, there's so many opportunities and it's so reasonably priced. And you're right, you're seeing 10, 15 people every day that could buy a house from you
Yeah.
instead of 0.
I guarantee you I've earned more business working from a shared working space than I did in my real estate office.
Absolutely. One of the places you're earning a lot of business, or at least building relationships, is your CrossFit community.
Yeah.
You can build that community anywhere. That office is really where you should be cultivating relationships that can generate business for you.
Yeah, and I coach a few fitness classes at my gym that I just bought into last year. And I'll go in, I'll coach the noon class. I get to see a lot of people on their lunch break. Hey, how's your work day going? All that stuff. I'm networking with people, and I'm having fun doing what I want to do. And then I coach the 4:30 class in the afternoon. Well, guess what I'm doing between 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 4:30? I'm sitting in the gym, and I'm responding to real estate deals, and I'm negotiating contracts. Right. So I can work from wherever I want to, and it's so much more productive than being in an office where somebody might pop in and, hey, let me run this thing past you. And it's like, I'm being more productive, right?
Time wasted in a real estate office is probably significant.
Yeah, and I think people really got their eyes open to how much they needed a brick and mortar office during this pandemic that we've all been through.
Yep.
And they realized, well, I'm doing a great job not needing an office right now. The only thing I go to my office for is to what? Drop off the commission check, the closing statement, or drop off an earnest money check, and that's about it.
Well, that's just culture in general now. How many people are not going back to an office that were at an office before and may never return?
This is true. And you mentioned the word culture, and I think we touched on this a little bit last time we were talking, was a lot of agents misrepresent culture as what's happening inside the office.
Ooh.
And that's what they identify as culture. Oh, it's a place that I get to go and laugh. That's great. Guess what? I'm laughing a lot too. I mean, I'm interacting with agents all the time, differently at different events or whatever, but culture is bigger than what's happening inside the four walls of your office, I think. It's camaraderie, it's spirit, it's transparency, it's caring, it's rooting for everybody. I have never been in a place that has so much culture, if that's how you define it, than eXp.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about, so when we talk about brokerage as an agent, right, we choose to be at a brokerage for a certain reason. But then the public also sees the brokers as, in a certain light, right? So let's talk about first public-facing, eXp. How much does the brand of eXp matter to the public these days?
I don't think it really matters to the public. Do you?
I don't either.
I think the brand is you, and the consumer really just cares about working with you. That you're the one that's made that relationship with them, and a lot of times they don't even know what brand you're with.
Well,
they think I'm Caldwell Banker all the time because my name is Caldwell. That's the truth.
100%. Cheryl Huff, Cheryl Huff at eXp?
Yeah.
They think she owns Huff. Like, all right, they don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
And let's pick a brand that is not local here, right? Let's pick on a brand that's somewhere else. So Howard Hanna is big up in northern Ohio and that. So, if somebody calls Howard Hanna and says, I need to list my house, does Howard Hanna ever walk through the house to list it?
Nope.
No. But if they call a Monica Weakley, they're getting the person or the team or the service that they're calling for. So a lot of people in today's world, with everything being out there on the internet, the social media connections that people are making, the broker brand doesn't really carry as much weight as it did 20, 30 years ago.
Agreed. There's actually a NAR, National Association of Realtors survey that went out to thousands of people. They do it every year, and the answer is always the same. But the question is, how much did the broker that your agent was with, was that part of your decision in hiring, both on the listing side and the buy side? It is consistently less than 2%. Consistently. So if you are interested in actual facts, like that is the fact. But I think we all know, because if we asked our last 100 deals, where was I when I sold your house, what brokerage, they'd be like, I don't know. I think the sign was blue. Like, they don't care and they don't know.
Well, I have a story on that too.
Oh, you do?
I do. So we made phone calls to our clients when we made the move over, and I had a $1.2 million listing. And I called my seller, and I explained to him we were switching brokerages as of today, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, I don't know. Are you with Keller Williams now? And I said, no.
Nope, never have been in my life.
Never was at Keller Williams. And he said, well, I don't care what brokerage you're at. Are you still going to sell my house? And that was the conversation we had.
That is so important. I want that clip because I get that question by agents considering a move. Like, I think my clients, I think they're going to have a fit. No, they're not. It's how you presented it. You didn't go to them. You weren't like, I got to tell you something.
No, there's no apology.
No, you're like, I did something for me, and it's going to be great for you, and I just want to tell you about it. Okay.
And the thing too was he's got a marketing company, and he was so anxious to hear about. He didn't know. He had never heard of eXp.
Cool.
But when I explained to him the cloud-based brokerage and our marketing and all the benefits of it, I got to at least share with him about the company, and he was excited for me.
That's great.
So I made the move October 18th of last year, and I had a listing coming up, and I knew the listing was coming up, so I strategically moved on that date so that I could go ahead and list that. That was the first listing that I put a sign on the ground with the eXp sign, and so sent the paperwork over to the client, explained everything, signed it, got the listing ready to go. It's in the MLS. Sign goes in the ground, and he goes over the next day to take the trash out, and he's like, "What's an eXp Realty?" And I said, "It's my new brokerage. I just moved over from my last brokerage to eXp." He goes, "Does that mean you can't sell our house, or does that change anything for us?" I was like, "No, actually, it doesn't matter at all." He goes, "Okay, go ahead and sell my house and get me the most money for it." And I was just like, he was just like, "I'd never seen that before, but I don't care. Just sell the house."
What's an eXp?
And
That's great.
I feel like that is something. I'm so glad that that's happened. That agents are now able to be out there and representing people and seen as at the forefront, and the broker is now the support system. It's the training. Yes. It's the support brokers that we can call speed dial every single time.
Power source, yeah.
Yeah, and people see us as agents because we're the ones out there putting in the work. Mm-hmm. The eXp Realty is never going to walk through a house with one of our buyers or sellers, but we are, and people are starting to realize that, and they're starting to appreciate that. So I love it.
Agreed.
Awesome. So we've had a good talk here.
Good times.
How do we end this thing? You guys have anything that you want to put out there? Let's talk about, real quick, personal-wise. I need you guys to pray for Monica. She's doing a 75 hard challenge right now.
Please.
She's drinking a gallon of water a day.
I can't believe I haven't had to go use the restroom. Right.
Congratulations.
I know,
actually.
I made it through.
2 workouts a day, eating right.
No alcohol. Reading books.
Bless your heart.
Taking progress pictures, which is brutal.
Oh, I'm sure.
In front of the mirror, like.
Oh, wait till you take the one on day 75.
That's
You're gonna
That's
be like,
why I'm doing it.
Did you give up
OMG.
cussing too?
Hell no. Hell no. I would not do that.
Awesome. You guys have any business books that you're reading right now?
Oh, I'll tell you a good one. Exactly What to Say.
Ooh, I read that one.
This
is a black book with the gray text on it. Yeah.
I can't think of the author, but that was a great book. A little short read.
And it's got little scripts and quips and
nuggets.
stuff. Oh, yeah, I love that book.
That's awesome. I am reading a John A. Cuff book. It's his new one, and it's called, I can't think of the name right now. It's good. But I actually want to talk about the one I'm listening to right now, which is not a business book, but since we're in the business of people, it is a business book. It's called Atlas of the Heart. It's Brene Brown's new one. You know Brene Brown? She has a way of making you see things differently and using words to help you process things differently. Well, this book goes through all of the emotions that we experience as humans, and she dives into the emotions and what's behind them, really.
Atlas, what was it called?
Atlas of the Heart. But it's a series of maps. That's why she calls it Atlas. It's a collection of emotion maps. But she does this, tells about this study in the beginning that says most humans can only describe 3 emotions: happy, sad, angry. And if we aren't able to really understand how we're feeling and put a name on it, how can we get through it and get over it? And if we're always just thinking we're either happy, sad, or angry, like we got no hope.
Right.
But this book, oh my gosh, I think it's a human requirement for every human
Atlas
to listen.
of the Heart.
Atlas of the Heart, Brene
It's an
Brown.
audiobook?
Yes.
All right.
It's so good.
I just finished reading, I haven't read this book in probably 10 years, but 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership.
Oh, what a good classic.
I'm reading the oldies but goodies
That's
right now.
a classic.
And
John Maxwell.
they say no person ever steps in the same river twice. I read that 10 years ago, bounced right off. I probably picked up some things. Man, I reread that book.
Hit you?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
Such a good
that's
book.
cool. That's a good one.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's Dianna Caldwell and Monica Weakley and Aaron Smith here with the Real Estate Momentum Podcast. Hope to see you soon.
you.